After his after his view of the deficiencies of Western Europeans, by which he means essentially German, Dutch, French, British Jewry, because of their deracination, of their withdrawal from Jewish traits and Jewish fervent belief. He launches into a praise of Eastern European Jews, of Russia, Galicia, Bukovina, Romania, a small part of Hungary. Poland is in this categorization included under Galicia. Because of their unique ability to modernize along Jewish lines, to retain their Jewish identity, their Jewish group structure, to fashion new Jewish culture as well as to maintain old Jewish culture, and to engage in national planning for Jews on a national scale, which Western European Jews have been unable to do, the complete package of which they lacked. They have become, he says, a Jewish nation in the full sense of the modern European meaning of the word. Remember, those of you who have worked in this area before, that there was this distinction between the Western and Eastern notions of nation. The Western notion of nation was a merely political contract notion. The Eastern European notion of nation had to do with a kind of integral, almost supernatural appearance of an integration between people, belief, religion, and folk behavior. That together was the nation. And it was the Eastern European ability to expand, going beyond the antiquated Western European view, into a much broader, more inclusive, more powerful, more dynamic Eastern European view, that made Eastern European Jews the hope of the Jewish future. As he points out in this essay, there's no surprise that Eastern European Jews had become the major factor in the Palestine idea and the birth and the rebirth of an idea of a Jewish homeland in the Near East, in Palestine. There's no surprise that Jews are the major factor in the welling up of Jewish modernism in terms of socialism, in terms of literature, in terms of theater, in terms of language, because none of these things were possible in terms of the desiccated version of Jewishness that the West accepted and knew. But on the other hand, the Palestine idea at the time is being fostered without any coordination by people who confuse quantity with quality. You could think that the more Jews are brought, the more quickly, the better it will be. But in truth, the more Jews that are brought more quickly, the worse it will be, because they will be unprepared. They'll be unprepared occupationally. You can't just bring dwellers of little towns in Eastern Europe into the desert and say, now you're free to do as you like. They have to be prepared to lead an agricultural and a small town artcraft life there. They have to be prepared physically to live under different physical conditions of weather, of food, of adversity from surrounding populations. They have to be prepared in terms of selecting those who are most qualified occupationally and intellectually to be the leaders of the new settlement. So therefore, he is opposed, as he was from the very beginning of his writings as a student himself, some 25 years before this date, when he wrote of Zionism as a national cultural rebirth of the Jewish people. Zionism not as a state-building activity, but as a culture-building activity in which the Jews who become Zionists themselves will become Jews first, as will become practicing, functioning Jews in the Eastern European fashion. He was impatient with Herzl, who wanted a Jewish state so the Jews could sit in a cafe and drink coffee and engage in political discussions without being insulted and spit upon. So they could do that in Tel Aviv. That's not what Tel Aviv was for, he would say. That's not what the Jewish state is for. That's not what the Palestine idea is for. The Palestine idea is in order to update the ancient Jewish devotion to God, to the Jewish people, to the Jewish being, to the Jewish mission in the world, the Jewish modernization under its own control. The purpose of the Palestine idea is not in order to create some new Jewish people or to de-Judaize the Jewish people, but to foster the current modern European Judaism. And therefore, he quickly left the Zionist movement after the first Zionist Congress, in which he was elected to be the secretary of the movement, because he felt that Herzl had taken Zionism along the wrong path, along the wrong Western European path. He saw great hope in the developments in Eastern Europe. He even saw great hope in the struggle against anti-Semitism in Eastern Europe. Jews were learning to organize self-defense groups to defend themselves against anti-Semites. The pogroms in Kishinev would never be repeated again. Even a year later, when there were pogroms attempted in Odessa, they were defeated because Jews had organized themselves now for the first time into armed self-defense groups of their own. And this way, they were able to attract many more allies among the local population. No one wants to be the ally of a group which is a loser, which does not resist its own decimation. In a sense, he was a forerunner of Shimon Dubnov, who believes that Jewish modernity meant the continuation of Jewish autonomy, the autonomy of the Kehillas, the autonomy of the Vad Abba Hutzis, the autonomy